This is the PlayStation 5 Pro, the mid-generation refresh of the now 4-year-old PS5. It's releasing this week for $700 and is still pretty widely available at most online retailers. Sony sent us a unit to review, and we've been using it for the last few days, testing it out on a selection of games whose developers have patched to take advantage of the 45% faster rendering and new PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution upscaler. To be clear, it's still the very early days of the PS5 Pro, with about 50 existing games supported, but also with notable omissions at launch like Gran Turismo 7 and PlayStation VR 2 game enhancements that are still in the works. That's why we'll consider this just a quick look at the hardware and some real-world performance. First, the hardware. PS5 Pro shares more in common with the PS5 Slim Digital Edition than the original launch PS5. It actually weighs less than the original PS5 at 7 pounds instead of 10, and looks like a stretched out taller version of the Slim model. On the inside, it still runs the same Zen 2 architecture with the same 8 CPU cores, but a faster RDNA GPU with 16.7 teraflops of compute. It also has 2 extra gigs of DDR5 memory compared with the PS5, and comes with 2 terabytes of storage standard, which is still upgradable. However, it doesn't come with a disk drive or a stand, and curiously has no built-in PlayStation Link support for use with Sony's Pulse Elite headset, which even the PlayStation Portal has natively integrated. If you have those headphones, you still have to use the USB-A dongle. Alright, let's talk about performance. The promise of the PS5 Pro is that gamers won't have to choose between a 60 frames per second performance mode and a 30 frames per second fidelity mode, and that's kind of true. In Spider-Man 2, for example, the new Performance Pro mode played buttery smooth at a solid 60 frames per second, but didn't have any of the gnarly upscaling and aliasing that's very noticeable on PS5's performance setting. PSSR upscaling looked really good in fast motion, and we only noticed a few instances of artifacts like shimmering that were still present. Visually, it looked very comparable to the fidelity mode in the original PS5 version. What was surprising is that some games also now offer a Fidelity Pro mode as well, which brings the target frame rate back down to 30 frames per second, but enables even more graphical bells and whistles like new ray-traced interior reflections and ambient occlusion lighting. Games like Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered even have an additional balanced graphical setting that tries to be the best of both worlds. But to be honest, the frame rate trade-offs didn't feel worthwhile, and 60 frames per second in Performance Pro mode is where games felt their best. It's interesting that even with the extra raw compute, developers still have to choose how they implement enhancements. If they want to bump up the baseline resolution, use PSSR upscaling, or stick with their own dynamic upscaling solutions, like Insomniac's temporal injection. And with Fidelity Pro modes, it feels like the goalpost keeps moving, which takes the wind out of the idea of not having to compromise visuals for performance. You're still having to choose here. As a side note, the PS5 Pro isn't all that power hungry, thankfully. Its power consumption is rated at a max 390 watts, up from 350 watts of the PS5, but we saw consumption hover around 230 watts at load, about 20 watts higher than on the PS5. For PlayStation VR 2 users, we're expecting to see games take advantage of PSSR upscaling at some point, but the real hope is that the extra graphical horsepower will allow games like GT7 to play natively at 90 Hz instead of reprojecting from 60 frames per second. With PlayStation Spectral Resolution, PS5 Pro also supports 8K output, but it's not something we're able to test today without an 8K TV. And unlike the rise of 4K TV ownership when the PlayStation 4 Pro came out, 8K isn't something we anticipate catching on for the vast majority of people this console generation. So, the PS5 Pro's hefty price point makes this tough to recommend today without seeing how support for the Pro will pan out after launch. I'm specifically thinking of GTA 6, still scheduled to come out next holiday. On paper, the PlayStation 5 Pro should be the best way to play that game, which for many people may alone make it well worth the price.
Thank you guys so much for watching that video. We have some brand new merch available at the store. A dog's age ago, I mean like 2018, 2019, this wonderful graphic designer named Brian Otterer reached out to us and sent us some stickers. He has a design firm called Dash 3 Dots, and we loved his stickers so much we wanted to sell them on the merch store. Well, he updated them with our new logo, and we've got Adam in the Martian spacesuit sticker. We've got Adam in the shuttle suit sticker. We've got Adam in the Apollo suit sticker. And my personal favorite, Adam in the alien spacesuit sticker. Get yours now, tested-store.com. Hey!